What is one thing your parents taught you but you will never teach your children? That you need to hustle 100% of the time and be constantly busy with schoolwork, extra activities, side projects, cleaning, etc. Spending time unwinding is a sign of laziness and beredium, and intelligent people are never bored. This really messed me up and I'm still learning the art of wasting time. My parents didn't insist that I hustle 100% of the time. But they were and are very brainy people who thought that school and education are what's important over everything else. That I shouldn't waste time with athletics or trying dating in high school because being smart would pay dividends later in life. Their hearts were in the right place. But now I'm 30 and single and have had very few lasting romantic relationships because my parents were awkward. Nerdy people who created awkward, nerdy people. We were not an emotional household and I feel like I'm making up for that to this day. And now they're pining for grandchildren. That parents never have to apologize to their kids. I love my dad. He is a great dad and I know he loves me so much. But he has it in his head that even now, even when his youngest, me, is an adult, that he doesn't need to apologize if he does something wrong. It's baffling. I hate my dad. He's a violent, hateful, hypocritical tyrant. If I had ever heard him apologize, or even express regret or remorse for anything that he'd ever done to anyone, maybe I'd have hope that he could be something other than a monster. These days, he's stopped being violent at least. But I don't trust him. I get that he's afraid of looking weak. But how can I trust someone who used to beat me for the explicit purpose of keeping me afraid to speak in his presence? For years, I'd just freeze if he asked me a question because I was terrified that I'd say something to set him off. And he still refuses to admit that he was wrong. If he apologized, I don't know that we'd go straight to Sunday brunch and playing catch in the park. But maybe we could start picking up the pieces. Eat everything on their plate. I try to get my kids to make an effort to eat their meals. But I'm never going to punish them for not being hungry when I say so. Sometimes you start it and can't finish. Sometimes you just don't like it. Now if they keep saying they're hungry, sometimes you gotta learn to take what you can get though. My husband came home with a big box of reduced donuts today. I cut a small piece off each and put them on a plate for my son. He gave me the plate back with about half still on, so I asked if he didn't like them. He said they were the best donuts ever, but he was full now. I know it's not much, but it made me so happy. I struggle to leave food on a plate no matter how much I've eaten, and he's there just leaving his favorite food because he is not hungry anymore. How to change an electrical outlet. 120 volts. Live. Good stuff. In my apartment we noticed a strange smell and discovered an electrical fire just starting up from our water heater. We flipped the electricity off and called the landlord. When he noticed that we turned off the electricity, he got really excited. Apparently not many people know what the panel of labeled switches by their front door is for. Or they think that is for building maintenance only and they aren't allowed to use it. It has led to a lot of damage in the past, I guess. That it is illegal to have a little ceiling light on in the car. Edit. OML, so many people are asking me if it's legal, lol. Where I live it is legal. But I know it's illegal in some places. Lots of parents say this because it's an easy way out of explaining that it's hard to see with the light on. It is illegal where they live. Or their parents told them it's illegal. You can look up if it's legal in your area. That's sex. Sexuality. Drinking, drugs, partying. Politics. Money. Spirituality are awkward things to discuss. I want my future kids to know facts and that if they are ever in trouble, I am a safe place for them. We don't have to talk about it if they don't want to. They'll be taught how to be safe. But they should also know that these subjects are a part of life and should not cause shame. My little girl is always saying, "Mummy, can I tell you something?" And I reply, "You can always tell me anything," trying to get some good habits in for when she's a teenager. I was the wild child. My husband pretty much lived under a rock till he was 18. I know I'm not a perfect parent and sometimes I have big guilt in how I dealt with a situation in the wrong way, but I try my best and that's what I try to instill into both of them. If you try your best, that's all anyone can ask of you. In the end, the only person you hurt is yourself when you half-ass it. If a boy acts like a jerk, it means he likes you. Double quote. No. Just no. First of all, he shouldn't be let off the hook for acting like a jerk, whether he's 5 or 105. Secondly, it teaches girls that abuse is okay, or that they should expect to be treated like crap, and that it's okay for them to be treated like crap. Close bracket. My daughter had a little boy that was picking on her and I was pissed. I asked her what would happen if Tatty, her dad, pushed me off of the sidewalk or pulled my hair. She said he wouldn't do that because he cares about me and that other little boys in the school are a lot nicer. That's damn right. You stay away from that little boy. Chase. That little boy is an asshole and don't forget it. Oh. And at the start of the coronavirus thing he was blowing air on her. That I basically have to be a smaller version of them. Believe exactly what they do and not think for myself and have my own opinion. If I have kids, I'd let them be open-minded and believe what they want. Edit. A few people seem to have misunderstood my post. I'm not saying I'll let them do whatever they want regardless of it being stupid or dangerous or harmful. I fully intend to offer guidance to them and try to reason with them if I believe something they think is wrong. I'm just not going to punish or censor them. I've seen so many parents disown or punish their kids for leaving their religion or coming out as gay, and it hurts me, man. When they get older, I believe they have the right to have their own opinions. That you can't change how things are and you can't ask questions because I said so. I was going to say that I don't want to teach them that because I said so is a valid reason for anything. If I can't verbalize a good reason why not, then I shouldn't say no. To wait until marriage. You know they won't anyway. The best you can do is teach them to be safe and pray they do okay. Same with a lot of things. Actually, I know my daughter is going to have sex no matter what. I know she's going to try alcohol at some point. I know she's going to probably try pot. Her safety is my priority. So the sex talk is going to include how to stay safe, where the extra condoms are stashed, that it's perfectly okay to ask me any questions about sex, like X happened, is this normal, all about consent, etc. And about the effects of alcohol, based on science, and how to stay safe when drinking socially with friends. Definitely would prefer if she didn't drink before 21. But if she's going to, might as well try to help her help herself not get absolutely shit-faced and possibly assaulted. But here's hoping I can move us to Europe in the next 5-10 years. How it feels to be hit by a belt. My mom got really mad at my siblings and I for something. So we ran into a bedroom and quickly stuffed magazines in our pants so the belt wouldn't hurt. She started smacking our asses with the belt. And since it didn't hurt, we were laughing instead of crying from the pain. She then pulled down my pants and saw the magazine. Now she got really mad, took the magazine out and hit our bare ass skin. Hurt like hell. Lesson learned. Next time you stuff your pants with a magazine and get whipped, act like it hurts. You better never bring a black woman home. Double quote. Damn. That's racist. I had open-minded parents who told me it didn't matter who I married as long as she was white. My parents fought a lot. They'd both get very emotional about things and raise their voices in every argument. By example, I will teach them that when you are angry, take a break from the argument until you've both calmed down. My parents were all about how important everyone's feelings were, and unfortunately extended that to mean fighting and then more fighting. Take a break to calm down? But then what about those precious feelings? Yuck. It took me so long to figure out that you don't have to choose between yelling at people and being an asshole. Thanks, Dad. Or repressing anger into a deep hidden rage. Thanks, Mom. Absolutely amazing to have the ability to simply acknowledge feeling anger and either leave the room or catch it before it balloons and calmly say to someone, I'm angry with you about XYZ. Or when you did X, Y, Z. I felt mad because. Incredible. Like, hey, An argument can be a form of adult communication, not a selfish opportunity to have a blame fest and indulge all your crap. Mind blown. Lack of empathy. My parents grew up in a really horrible situation and they made it out and did well for themselves. So now anytime anyone struggles they refuse to feel bad for them because they have gone through worse and did fine. I think people deserve empathy regardless. My constant reminder to everyone is that your hard is your hard. Their hard is their hard. Everyone has their own version. Everyone has different life experiences. Your hard does not make their hard any less or any worse. You aren't allowed to call someone's hard invalid simply because you were dealt a worse hand. Someone always has it worse. What's the point in trying to compete? Being hypercritical. My parents were very critical of me about so many things. My grades, my performance in extracurricular activities, even how I did chores. What was worse was that they would often compare me to others as well, and would only ever praise me when they were basically bragging to other people. An example that always stuck with me was when I had a part-time job as a waiter in high school. And my dad would often scold me for wasting my time at a useless job instead of focusing on school. And how I was just gonna end up being a bum just like my older brother. But then when he's talking to his friends he brags about how his youngest son is so hardworking. He even has a part-time job in high school. It's this sort of hypercriticism is why I struggle a lot with self-esteem and confidence. What's worse is that I find myself even being hypercritical of other people's behavior. Like if they make a mistake or don't do something how I would have done. I don't snap like my dad would do. But I still find myself immediately getting annoyed. It's something I'm working on. And hope to never do to my future kids. Finish what's on your plate or no thanks. You stop when you're full and can save the rest for later. I'm not giving my kids an eating disorder by destroying their hunger signals. I watched my dad countless times tell my brother that here's a PSSY if he didn't clear his plate. My dad also gave my brother the nickname Soft Shoulders. I once asked my dad why they never fed us fruit or veggies. His response was, well, we had apples around all the time. Yeah. Give a child a bucket of candy and an apple and see what they choose. Good God, I'm angry at my parents. Christianity. My parents basically taught that God was real and he doesn't give a damn. You can be a holiday Catholic or worse if you want. But be kind to others. That being part of the LGBT+ community was bad. My dad is homophobic. My mom is not. I am part of the community. And neither of them know yet. Well, I haven't told them yet. Who knows if they know. That a parent's feelings are more valid than the child's. My mom did this once when I expressed to my dad that she constantly hurt my feelings. She came into my room after that since my dad had just tucked me into bed when I told him, and she said, and I quote, "I hurt your feelings? You hurt mine when you make me spank you or yell at you." Almost every time she spanked me, with what we call the bod, which is basically a shaped piece of wood with a handle, it would be about me talking during church or playing with my friends in restaurants too loudly. She never said to quiet down. She'd say shut up, stop, and threaten me with licks after spanking me with the board. So I never felt like I could have fun as a child. Basically, that's a trauma I'm still trying to get over. Though my confidence is getting better and I'm finally branching out and doing things by myself. I say finally because I'm around 20 years old and have yet to ever have a job or adult properly. I do still have trust issues and issues with feeling like how I feel is valid and okay, but I'm working on it. Selective application of morality. Growing up, the rule was it's not illegal if you don't get caught, and the effect was to cut every corner and take any advantage available regardless of the morality. If you can get away with it and justify it with moral ambiguity, you're fine. The reality is that our projection of self into the world isn't who we feel that we are, but the sum of our actions. As soon as you compromise your morals, you've not just taken some menial small win like cutting a line, but you've compromised a body of work that will be known as you to everyone but yourself. Learn who you are. Live up to the person you want to be. When I was young, My dad taught me a few self-defense techniques. He said he had developed it himself. He would give me a 15-second head start to run and then he would try to catch me and beat me up with a pair of jumper cables. Looking back, it was probably violent and unnecessary. Though it proved useful in high school. I'll never do that with my daughter. That small children should and will work like adults. Never mind the fact that they're physically incapable of it. And I mean stuff like full home renovations and heavy landscaping. A little kid can't carry a ceiling beam on their own. And surprise, they also can't handle a giant wheelbarrow full of heavy wet mulch on their own either. I mean, FFS now. My parents tried to tell my then 6-year-old son off about not doing anything when my husband and I were moving heavy furniture. My parents weren't doing jack shit other than watching. Hypocritically enough. And they didn't like when I told them to shut up or gtfo. Because my son is going to be a kid. Not a workhorse. So yeah. I guess my deal is that I was taught that kids are born to work for you. And you shouldn't let them actually be children. And I adamantly refuse to teach my son the same bullshit. To take responsibility. For years one of my parents owed me money for breaking my stuff and walking away. I also don't control the weather nor traffic. My mom siphoned money out of my account for her failing business. I was a teen and she had her name on the account as well. When I realized what happened she said you probably just didn't have as much as you thought. I always knew something was fucky. It wasn't until years later after her and my dad divorced that he told me what happened and gave me some money from the house selling, from their divorce, and apologized for not telling me earlier. That broke a lot of trust with my mom. That I'm a slut. That my life should be devoted to pleasing other people. That my feelings don't matter. But other people's always do. That my health doesn't matter. That my siblings are better than I am. That I should give unconditional love to my parents. No matter what they do. That I should always smile. Not really something my parents taught me but something I watched them do when growing up. Which is just comment on people's appearances all the time. Who cares if you don't like the clothes they're wearing or what if you think they've lost or gained weight. And you don't like their new haircut, okay, etc. My family does this so much and I quickly grew out of it in my early teens. But yeah. It's such a pointless superficial conversation. It has no good purpose whatsoever. Weapon cleaning. I am from a family of hunters and want to get a license myself. But unless they show genuine interest, like my brothers and I did, then I won't force it on them. Talking to your parent even politely during an argument is talking back. My mother and I have argued our entire lives about a lot of things. It decreased over time as I got older. I learned to just shut up. However, the incident that stuck out is sometime my sophomore year when I was going out friends and I wasn't allowed to for no reason. Sometimes she'd yell at me to clean a mess she made or my sibling so when a friend comes over it won't be nasty. Yeah, both times I told her I'm going and she told she was calling the police. She never did BTW. Also, I told her once I was suicidal as a kid, entering puberty. And hormonal imbalances was the reason. And she looked at me and went, why are you telling me this? Stop looking for attention. Go do it instead of crying to me. Yeah, my mom pretty much told me to go kill myself. Bet I will go NC as soon as I can. To flinch when someone reaches for my hair. Getting my hair cut or colored is always a struggle. Most of the time they will be gentle when I tell them I have a sensitive scalp. But not all the time. Edit. Change the wording because I realized it might sound confusing. I will do my damned best to not practice the whole "you're older so you should know better" belief. As a kid, whenever my sister would pick a fight with me, pull my hair, call me names, throw things at me, I'd retaliate appropriately. Unfortunately, I always got grounded for fighting back, while my sister got off easy because I should have known better. Double quote. This practice isn't fair. Younger siblings should also be taught right from wrong at a young age. Giving special treatment to one sibling only creates lifelong resentment. So, I will try to be fair in situations like that. The clean plate club mixed with worshipping thin people. What the fuck? So many people still do this and it's bizarre. Finish your food. Why are you so fat? A hilarious amount of fat moms with fat kids have given me shit for me rebellious ways. To hide both your pain and any medical issue. My mother never actually taught me this knowingly. But I learned from watching her. She thought she was being strong. But it made it harder for everyone. When in doubt, leave it out. My mom had this motto that if something seemed too difficult, just give up altogether. Luckily my dad was the polar opposite of her, so it didn't mess us up too much. That certain things are for certain genders. Example, the color pink. My son loves the color pink. Once an acquaintance told him, "Why are you wearing a pink shirt? Pink is a girl's color." To which he replied, "No, pink is just a color like any other. I'm raising 3 boys to be better men than I am. One of those lessons is to be that I will not be subjugated by you or your bullshit ideas of what a tough man should be. You can still be compassionate and empathetic while understanding that sometimes violence is the only thing that will keep you alive." That the parent's word is never to be questioned. We encourage our daughter to respectfully question our instructions, punishments, decisions, etc. 90% of the time we don't change our mind. But we do encourage rational objections. I won't teach them that telling what's wrong always ends up with the parent complaining about how hard they are trying and how ungrateful the kids are. I'll try. At least. It's so easy to say I'll be a great parent, and do mistakes too. To always be polite, respectful and never rude towards adults and people in general. Got me into some sticky situations with middle-aged men on the streets persistently trying to get me to come home with them or give them my number when I was like 13. It has taken a considerable amount of self-rewiring to be able to finally be straightforward and rude if I have to for my own safety. But I sometimes still feel massive amounts of guilt for doing so. We grew up in a church where we were taught we needed to know God's will for everything. Everything needed a purpose. So everything was if God allows it. So if I said I want to travel when I get older, the answer was, well, there's no money, so if God wants you to, he'll provide the way. This translated to so many areas, so I had zero ambition and zero drive to do anything for myself. When my daughter says she loves China and wants to go one day, she said, "Oh, but it's so expensive." I said, "We will get you there one way or another. You can absolutely do that if that's what you really want." And then we learn as much as we can about it. She's 7 and has decided eating with chopsticks is amazing and she wants to learn Chinese and everything she can. You are not special in the grand scheme of things and that you can do anything you want. You are my kid and I love you, but this does not mean that you're special. Not trying to tell them they are worthless, but I don't want them to think everything will always be alright because they are special. It's okay to drink and smoke, as long as you do it with moderation. Though my parents have drastically changed since my younger days. They are now more open and understanding. As a young adult currently struggling to figure out what I want to do with my life, constantly pressuring them to find a career job right after high school. You've got your whole life to work. Go out and live a little.